In the news today, in the past hour, a jury found an Isanti hockey father guilty in a cold case murder.
The jury found Jerry Westrom guilty of first and second-degree murder in the 1993 stabbing death of Jeanie Childs in Minneapolis. This case came together after DNA linked Westrom to the crime many years later.
There are moments in true crime when a single detail, a bloody footprint, a running shower, holds the answer police have been chasing for decades. This is that moment. This is the story of Jeanie Childs, whose murder in Minneapolis remained unsolved for 26 years, until groundbreaking DNA technology, relentless detectives, and a grieving family's battle for justice changed everything. This is The Dark Truth. Before you dive in, don't forget to subscribe and join our quest for answers. Some secrets refuse to stay buried. Jeanie Childs was more than the headlines would tell. She was Betty Eakman's daughter, Cindy Bloomer's sister, a free spirit with a gentle heart wounded by childhood trauma. Her father's rejection haunted her. Running away became an escape. Yet she remained close to her family, checking in, promising, "I'll be okay. I can take care of myself." Her mother, Betty, searched for her through Minneapolis's darkest alleys, driven by a love that would not settle for silence. Life's hardships forced Jeanie onto a difficult path, including addiction and sex work, but she never lost her kindness, nor did her family lose hope. That day, water from Jeanie's apartment leaked down to the unit below. Maintenance responded, expecting routine plumbing trouble. Instead, they found Jeanie's nude body, stabbed 65 times, her shower running, her socks soaked in blood. The scene was incredibly brutal, the blood pattern speaking of a desperate final struggle, pain, and terror. Detectives found something rare, a clear, bloody, bare footprint in Jeanie's blood. It did not match hers. She wore socks, even in death. Investigators knew, even in 1993, that this print could identify her killer, if only science would allow it. News reached Betty while she was working. The coroner's confirmation, delivered gently, broke her heart. "Are you all alone?" they asked, delivering the words that no parent should ever hear. "I started to scream," Betty later recalled, the grief echoing through years of unanswered questions.
"Are you all alone?" And I said, "Well, I'm in a client's home right now, taking care of her." He said, "Well, I think you better get somebody with you." He said, "Well, what is your daughter's name?" And I said, "Jeanie Childs." And he says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but that was your daughter." That's how I found out, and I started to scream.
Betty never gave up. She called investigators annually, desperate for resolution, never letting her daughter become just another cold case. Police focused on those closest to Jeanie. Arthur Gray, her boyfriend, was quickly eliminated. His hair was in her hand, but he had a solid alibi, and his footprints did not match those at the scene. Other leads fizzled. DNA was collected from items throughout the apartment, but the technology was too new, and the profile, a mystery male, found no match. Years passed, and the file grew cold. Betty's calls became a ritual. The case waited for science to catch up. In 2015, Minneapolis detectives partnered with the FBI to review long cold cases. Jeanie's case stood out for its violence and for the hope that improved DNA technology could finally identify the unknown male found in the apartment. Forensic scientist Andrea Fea joined the team, retesting the evidence. The DNA profile, developed from semen on multiple items, was strong, but still, no hits were found in the official databases. The game changed in 2018, when the Golden State Killer's arrest showed that genealogy websites could connect crime scene DNA to families. Detectives submitted Jeanie's killer's DNA to commercial genealogy databases. The result, just months later, was extraordinary. The genealogist matched the profile to two brothers, one with brown eyes, criminal records for soliciting prostitution, and ties to Minnesota. His name was Jerry Westrom. Jerry Westrom had built a life in Isanti, Minnesota, a businessman, father, husband, hockey enthusiast. Detectives tracked his routine, hoping for a chance to collect DNA surreptitiously. The breakthrough arrived at a hockey tournament when Westrom discarded a napkin in the bleachers. Investigators retrieved it from beneath a Slurpee cup right before a child might have thrown it away. The napkin, tested in the lab, was a direct DNA match to evidence from Jeannie's crime scene. In February 2019, police arrested Westrom outside his work.
Are you familiar with these buildings here? They're in South Minneapolis. They're called the Horn Towers. No? Okay. Let me show you a different picture of these. Okay, you ever familiar with those? Are you familiar with Lake Street? Yeah. Does this look familiar to you at all? Have you ever been in those buildings that you can remember? No. Okay. Let me ask you this. In 1993, okay, did you ever date anyone in Minneapolis? No. Okay. Did you ever, and I'm sorry I have to ask you this question, okay, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but did you ever have sex with a female in Minneapolis in 93 that you remember? Not that I recall. Okay. Okay. Does this lady look familiar to you at all? Mm-hmm. Okay, her name is Jeanie Childs. Okay. And she was also known as Jennifer. And so she is a person that lived in these buildings in 1993. Okay. And she was found in her building, in her apartment, deceased. Do you know anything about that at all? No. Okay, do you think you would have ever had sex with her? I doubt it, no. Okay. I mean, in 93, did you, and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but did you visit prostitutes at all? Not as far as, your DNA is at every one of these locations that we talked about just a second ago. And I was kind of wondering, you know, do you have any idea why that would be? No. Okay.
He denied ever visiting Horn Towers, denied knowing Jeannie, denied everything. Even as forensic experts compared his footprints to the unique bloody print left at the scene. Blind verification by 2 specialists confirmed it. The print was his. The trial began in August 2022. Prosecutors built their case on DNA, footprints, and decades-old pain. Defense lawyers argued the DNA proved only that Westrom had been in the apartment, not that he killed Jeannie. The jury saw it differently, convicting him within hours. On September 9, 2022, Jerry Westrom was sentenced to life in prison, eligible for parole only after 30 years, the strictest penalty under Minnesota law. Betty Eekman, finally allowed to speak for her family, described the never-ending nightmare of loss. For her family, justice had finally arrived, however late.
I've waited so many years to have this end, and it's put my life through so much hell. And I just really feel I'll never forget and love her the way I always did.
Westrom's attorneys continued to insist on his innocence, filing appeals through state and federal courts. In May 2024, the Minnesota Supreme Court affirmed his first-degree murder conviction. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected his appeal in October 2024. Westrom remains behind bars, his claims of wrongful conviction now exhausted. The child's case stands as Minnesota's first forensic genealogy conviction. It is now studied in criminal justice courses as proof that careful evidence handling and scientific advancement can solve even the oldest mysteries. Footprint analysis, bare in blood, added another rare element, validating new techniques while honoring the painstaking work of the first crime scene team. Betty and Cindy continue to honor Jeannie's life at home in Minnesota. Their pain endures, but their determination remains unbroken. In interviews, both remembered Jeannie's playful, loving spirit, her love of Lionel Richie, her spontaneous dances, undimmed by tragedy. For the Minneapolis community, closure has brought both relief and discomfort, forced to revisit the vulnerability of women like Jeannie and the failures of a system slow to protect them. The murder of Jeanie Childs teaches us that science can reach through decades, that stories of pain and justice are never truly done. It shows us that behind every footprint and DNA test is a life stolen, a family left searching. Justice delayed is justice nonetheless. And behind every cold case is the hope that one day technology and tenacity will bring the answers the living deserve. Subscribe to The Dark Truth for more stories that matter, where victims are remembered, families get answers, and justice cuts through time. Let's keep seeking truth. For Jeanie, for Betty, for every voice that remains unheard.